Hello, it's the Gaming Gladiator here. Sorry I haven't been uploading for the past few weeks, but nevertheless, I'm going to give you this deck profile of the Black Organization deck that's from the Detective Conan set, but it's actually more focused on the Akai, FBI Agent Akai, because it's actually a really good control card to have. Without further ado, let's just start with the deck profile. First, I run one of the mysterious man Shuichi Akai. He's just there to be an Akai actually. He can control your opponent's board by bouncing your opponent's cards, and it can also deal damage and heal you. So that's very good, but not as good as this. I'm gonna explain later. Next is the one high school detective Shinichi Kudo. He's there for basically to surprise your opponents because, well, his ability to just nullify abilities and destroy cards and deal damage and heal is actually insane. Not to mention it actually protects itself by making all detectives on the field immune to destruction, nullification, or bounce. Really good, and it also has triple attack and penetrate. Next is probably the best card in the deck, the FBI agent Shuichi Akai. His call cost is pay to gauge put the top card of your deck into soul, and then his ability is at counter speed you can actually destroy 2 cards in your opponent's field or deal 2 damage to your opponent, and it has penetrate and double attack. This card is just insane. Controlling your opponent's board can mean victory to you, so yeah, it is very good. Not to mention you can do it on your turn and your opponent's turn, and dealing 2 damage is just the cherry on top because, well, it's because this card isn't good enough, it seems. Next is the 4 size 1 high school detective Masumi Sarah. She's just there to search Akai. Her ability is when she's placed, you can discard a card from your hand and search a Shuichi Akai from your deck to your hand. If your opponent is immune to destruction, you can just search him to bounce your opponent's cards. But you already have a card that you already have a lot of cards that can bounce in this deck. So yeah, but not only does she search Akai, she also gives immunity to Akai. That's very good in a mirror match, because in a mirror match your opponent is going to try to destroy your Akai, but this girl will prevent it. Next is basically the staples for the every Conan deck. Basically, the private detective Toru Amuro. He's basically a Daryl Berg of the Conan set. If you can have him, you should have him because, well, it's Daryl Berg. You always plus with Daryl Berg, okay? Just that's it. Next, the 4 Lonely Girl Haibaras. She is insane in terms of draw power because she can discard 1, charge 2, and draw 2. If you discard her, you're gonna charge 3 and draw 3. That's insane. Next, I run 4 of the double rare vermouth. She's there to, give you gauge and draw cards. When she's placed, if you have another Black Organization on your field, you can charge 2 and draw 2 cards. With this card on the field, this card is actually a Black Organization. With this card alone on your field, and you can, if you call this, you're gonna charge 3 and draw 3 basically off of this card's effect. And that's really good. This deck's draw power is very insane. That's why I run a lot of cards in this deck. If you count it, I think it's gonna be 62 cards, but not to worry. I think I never bricked with this deck because of the insane draw power of these 2. Not to mention Toru Amuro, not to mention Masumi Sarah can search Akai and everything. This deck is just insane. The draw power of these 2 is just insane. Okay, next I run 4 Secretive Vermouth. She is just for bouncing your opponent's card, controlling your opponent's board. She's very good at it, and if you have 2 of her in your hand, you basically create this infinite loop as long as you have gauge. Next, I run 4 of the Betrayal and Punishment Bourbon. I run 4 of him because, well, he can actually control your opponent's multi-attacker and actually draw a card in the process, and it can actually give Akai an extra soul, and if your opponent tries to attack to Akai, he's probably gonna come up and, control your opponent's board. Next is the 2 Informant Bourbon. I only run 2 of him because he's actually, he's not errata yet in English, but he is errata in Japanese, so this is just a preemptive deck profile for the Black Organization, because in my locals he's actually treated as if he's errata. and if he isn't, this card is just very, very insane. If your locals allow cards to be played as it is, you should run 4 of him, because the advantage that he gives is insane. Also, if he wasn't eroded, this card would create so many FTKs. Insane, very insane. Next, I run 1 of the Jinsuburn Vodka. He's just there for a utility, basically. When he enters the field, you can drop 2 of your opponent's soul. Next is the size 1 Kier. Kier is actually basically the same thing as the Vermouth, but with significant difference is that she actually deals damage to your opponent and then heals you 1. That's very good in certain conditions, because you can actually kind of burn your opponent to death with her. So yeah, that's why I only run 1 of her, because she's kind of a utility card. Next is the 1 Kaito Kid. Kaito Kid is again just there to control your opponent's board. He's basically just an utility card. He can kind of sometimes win you games. Yeah, but yeah, he's mostly just there to control your opponent's board. Next is the size 0 Haibara. She's basically all with all. That's all you need to know when she's dropped the charge 1 and draw 1. End of story. Next is the 4 last stop. It's basically Dragon Emperor Legend with no once per turn clause. That's an automatic 4-off, because no once per turn on Dragon Emperor Legend is just too insane. Next, the previously mentioned Mystery Train. It gives your Black organizations plus 3000 power, and also gives you gauge and draw each time you call a Black organization by an effect. You can actually call her, and like I said before, you can actually gauge 3 and draw 3 in the process. Next is I run 3 APTX for 869, I believe. Yes, it's there to be the target for Haibara, and also it can actually call Haibara. It can actually save you from planetary damage if your opponent tries to attack your Akai. You can just destroy the Akai and then call a size 1. I don't know, you can call him to control your opponent's board even further, and also heals you 1 in the process. This is a very good card there. Next is the 3 Astonishments. It's just there to control your opponent's board, because it can actually destroy a monster or an item or a set spell. Very good card there for only 1 gauge at that. Next is the Stunning Iron Wristwatch. It's again to control your opponent's board again. This deck is all about control, man. All about control. Not making your opponent unable to attack with multi-attackers is very insane in this meta, because multi-attackers are very prevalent in this meta. Next is the FBI Agent set spell. Not only does this set spell give immunity to your Akais, your FBIs, it also gives you gauge life and draw each time you damage your opponent with an FBI or you destroy cards on your opponent's field with an FBI. Very good card there. You basically always get this off with the card there. Next is the 2 Junior Detective League. I only run 2 of it because, it's kind of an okay card, I guess. I only run it for the gauge, but also it can actually salvage Masumi Seira or Haibara or even the size 0 Haibara. Really good, but mostly I only run it for the gauge. Next, I run 2 Criminal Tracking Glasses. This card is basically just buddy block. If you have no options to defend with and you're fighting against a multi-attacker, this card is very good in defending you, because it's buddy block. You're not gonna take damage from attacks. That's really good. And next, the 2 handgun. The handgun is actually a very good item. It can control your opponent's gauge. It draws your cards and deals your damage to your opponent. So yeah, but I don't actually run 4 of it because, it's kind of bricky at times. Because it costs 1 gauge and everything. But it is a good item. So yeah. So I guess that's it for the deck profile. I hope you liked the video, and subscribe for more, and see you in the next one. Thank you.